Chris, what is the fourth main topic today?
This comes from Darryl Cooper. Hey everyone! Well, it looks like the Batman is staying a 15 here in the UK. Edward Lamberti, from the British Board of Film Classification, said that most superheroes get a lower age classification, but said the new Batman film was, quote, different. We haven't given it a 15 lightly. It is a stronger, tougher, bleaker movie than is typically the case with superhero film. We might be in for something special here, but it is odd seeing kids tie-in books and Lego sets in the toy aisle for a film none of them can see. Usually the studio asks for suggestions and makes cuts for a lower rating, but they haven't this time. I wonder why they didn't mind taking the financial hit when they need it most.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in. And yeah, okay, we were talking about this. This came up, I think last week is when it came up, that in the UK, they have a different rating system than we have in the United States. Like here in the US and North America, we have, PG-13, or PG, PG-13, and R. And in the UK, they have something different. They have like 12, 12A, 15, and 18. Now, you would think that an 18 certification, that's equivalent to rated R here in the States. It's not. It's actually equivalent to NC-17. Because in North America, anybody of any age can go to an R-rated film. If you are 12 years old, you can go to an R-rated film, provided you are accompanied by your over 18-year-old brother or sister, an uncle or an aunt, one of your parents, whatever. But the point is, with R-rated films, anybody can still go, provided they go with an adult. In the UK, it's a little more strict. A 15 rating means if you are under 15, you just cannot get into this movie. And there's nothing like that in North America until you come across NC-17, which is porno, basically. So I would propose, and we talked about this, why like the 15 is actually a harder rating than the rated R here in North America, because, hey, 13-year-old, doesn't matter if your uncle says he'll take you. You're not allowed in, period. And it's enforced. And we talked about the fact the other day that in the UK, the Batman has gotten that 15 rating, to which the movie theaters were very upset. The movie theaters were like, this is the Batman. We're trying to get the movie theater industry up and running again. There are going to be a lot of kids who want to come see the Batman. We're making Lego toy sets of the Batman. But we're telling these kids they can buy these Lego toy sets, but they can't come see the movie. And hell, Ireland, if they drive across the border into Ireland 15 minutes away, they're rating it 12A. So they're just going to be able to leave the country, go watch it somewhere else, and then come back. And so we talked about this story about a number of movie theater owners were petitioning the government to get the rating for Batman put back down to a 12A instead of 15. Well, apparently the efforts did not work because it still has that's going to go into its release with that 15 certificate or equivalent to a rated R or even harder in North America. This comes to us from HITC, who writes, in the US, the Batman has been given a PG-13 rating by the MPA, the Motion Picture Association, whereas it has received a 15 certificate by the BBFC, the British Board of Film Classification, in the UK. The MPA bulletin has described that the PG-13 rating has been given due to the film's strong, violent, and disturbing content, drug content, strong language, and suggestive material. Over on the BBFC's website, it is listed as a 15 for strong threat violence. So, in the UK, only audience members that are age 15 years or over will be permitted to see the Batman in cinemas. I want to read what the MPA wrote about Batman again. Strong, violent, and disturbing content. Drug content, strong language, suggestive material.
Count me in.
It sounds like an R to me. I mean, I whatever. So the the British Film Certification Board, they said, yeah, no, this is an R. For them, it's a 15. This is an R, and they tagged it with it. So they're going to go into this thing. The release is coming up in a couple of days. It's going to have to live with the 15 certification. It is what it is. The other thing they brought up is in the email that the person wrote in, they were asking, well, wait a minute. Why they need the movie to make money. Why wouldn't they edit the film then to get it down to the rating in the UK board? I think the main reason why is because the UK box office is not a top 3 box office market. And it kind of pales in comparison to the North American market and what it's going to make here. And Matt Reeves made the film he wants to make. And they're not going to edit it just so in one country it'll get the slightly easier rating. Now, I get it why the theaters were upset. They want the kids to be able to come into their theaters, buy their popcorn, buy their soda, buy their bangers and mash or whatever they serve at the British film theaters. And hey, if you can sell poutine at the Canadian film theaters, which is awesome, by the way, you can sell bangers and mash in the UK film theaters. I don't even know if that's a real thing. Anyway, so clearly the theater owners want it, but they're not getting it. And I understand why, because everything I've heard from people who've seen the Batman, I've heard a couple of people say to me, it's kind of hard to understand why it's not rated R. Now, I haven't seen it myself yet. I'm not going to see it till Tuesday. But that's there. Anyway, Rob, it's going to have to live with its 15 certification, their R equivalent in the UK. Is this going to hurt it much? What do you think about it? How do you see this?
Well, I think that, like you said, this is a tonal issue with this movie. You can't just like cut out a shot and have them go, oh, well, now we can give it to kids. I mean, I think that the overall tone of this movie is very adult. It takes its cues from Fincher-esque stuff like Seven and Zodiac or whatever. So I don't think that you could cut it. And like you said, you can't really drive from the UK to Ireland. You could drive from the Irish Republic to Northern Ireland,
yes.
But it would be the Northern Irish.
But one of those falls under this certification.
Yeah, so you could go to the Republic of Ireland from Northern Ireland. By the way, I have a hot toy coming from Northern Ireland. I'm very excited about. I just think that, look, it's unfortunate, but it also shows the fact that there are Lego sets from this Batman movie. I mean, I remember when I was 12, I was so excited to get the Kenner 18-inch Alien for the holidays. You know, my mom, it was an R-rated movie, and they had advertisements with kids playing with the Xenomorph, as if, hey, kids, you too can have. I mean, it's such a bizarre. The idea of let's prevent children from seeing the Batman, and I get it. I mean, I don't necessarily want somebody who's 7 or 8 to see this movie, but you know, when you're 13, 14, 15, the world is a hard place, and the sooner you learn that, maybe seeing a movie like the Batman can help you be ready for the world at large. So I don't quite understand this, but I'll tell you one thing. It makes me very excited that the movie is full of this kind of goodness, because I can't wait.
And it's not surprising, because when we look at the trailers, we see there's going to be a lot of visceral violence.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a movie for kids.
It's buildings exploding. It's like savage beatings being laid on people. Yeah, maybe it's not for kids. I don't know. Chris, look, we're speaking from a perspective here that we haven't seen the movie ourselves yet. But from what you're gathering and seeing, do you think maybe the British Certification Board should have gotten a little more easy on this? Or do you think maybe the MPA might be going kind of light on it? I mean, how do you see it right now?
Well, one of the things is here in the States, the things that make our rating are things that the rest of the world aren't as bothered by. We are very, very prude about nudity. If you show some boobies in a movie, we're like, whoa, that is not okay. If we see a nipple, we freak out. Not so much in the UK. So there are different standards here.
And violence is not acceptable.
Is different too, yeah. And I know for us, it's the squibs, basically, right? The amount of blood and things is what ups it to an R rating. So from what we know about this movie, the 15 age point kind of seems to make sense to me. And bouncing off of what you were saying too about the toys, Rob, yeah, I have a bunch of friends who have like plush xenomorphs, like snuggly little xenomorphs that are made out of like Teddy Ruxpin material, you know? Like there are plenty of toys for terrifying products out there. There are little dolls you can get at Pennywise, for Christ's sake. Like it's horrifying. So I don't think the fact that there are toys for this really means anything about the movie as a whole. Kids are going to play with toys regardless. You're going to get a Batman toy if you want a Batman toy. You don't have to see a movie to get that. But the rating seems to be something that makes sense for the level of violence we're seeing, and it's a level of violence that, frankly, I appreciate.
I just throw this out there. To your point, Chris, IR Giorgio writes in the who's writing to us from Europe, writes in, if there are no boobs in a Dutch movie, we're like, what the fuck? I mean, but yeah, I mean, there is a cultural difference.
Yeah.
Like, the nudity stuff like that, I find a lot of European countries, and sex nudity, they're a lot more accepting and lenient on it. But the violence, that's a bigger issue to them.
Exactly.
Here in North America, it's like violence for days.
Yeah.
But I see a little bit of plumber crack there.
Yeah.
We gotta.
If two characters have sex in a movie, they've had sex already. They both are like, well, I gotta put this sheet over me and slide out of bed real quickly so you don't see my naked body.
What I've always wanted to know is, where do they buy the sheets that are shaped like L's, where a man and a woman who just had sex together are laying beside each other, and the sheet is perfectly positioned down around the guy's waist, but it's up over the girl's breast beside him. I'm like, where do you buy the sheet? I've seen this. They actually take a bed sheet and they literally cut it to be that shape.
That's ridiculous.
I know. How silly is that?
I'm going to say, in the Pete's Car household, we just have separate blankets so that I don't steal all of Logan's. So I just assumed that's what all movies did.
I will not deny Anna and I do that a lot too, because Anna, like I'll be laying in bed on top of all the covers because I'm like, it's so warm in here. And Anna's under her blanket, a second blanket, and has the two dogs cuddled up to her. It's freezing in here. I'm like,
you got to make a
California
burrito.
Girl. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this whole situation? So if you're in the UK and you are under 15, sorry, I guess you're going to have to wait till this thing comes out on home video. Do you think maybe they're the ones who have it right and we're the ones who have it wrong? Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Guys, we want to take just a minute and thank the sponsor of this video, Masterclass. Masterclass is offering classes on a wide variety of topics, like all taught by world-class masters at the absolute tops of their field. Each class is broken down out into individual video lessons, usually like around 10 minutes or so long, and members can explore at their own pace. And each class is supported by downloadable materials, lessons, recipes, or more that you can all find at masterclass.com. For example, are you into streaming? Well, you can take the Building Your Streaming class taught by ninjas so you can sharpen up on your streaming skills. Or if you're interested in independent filmmaking, take independent filmmaking from Academy Award winner Spike Lee. You want to get classes on how to direct? How about from Ron Howard? The very first one I personally looked up and got into was Business Leadership by the great Big Papa Iger, Bob Iger himself. And I was absolutely enthralled with it. I love every single minute of this stuff. If any of those apply to you, you need to try Masterclass. So I highly recommend that you check it out. Get unlimited access to every Masterclass, and as a John Campea Show viewer, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/Campea. Once again, to get 15% off your annual membership, go to masterclass.com/Campea.